Fellas, I'll be real with you, okay? I'll spill it, I'll be honest. I like cope. I love it. I love it so much, honestly. I truly can't resist it. Trust me, I try so hard. I really do. I try to make other videos, I try to yap about other topics, sometimes very serious ones and all that. I play other games to make videos about them, but in the end, I just love to go swimming in the swamp that is social media gaming discourse. Anytime a major release like Marathon happens, the fanboys, the shills, the game journalists, the content creators, and the candy asses always make it unavoidable. So today, we are going to head back into the continuation of the great Marathon saga, because it has taken quite a turn. This is what Highguard's scope should have been, but sadly it died way too quickly. The game was so dead on arrival that the cope didn't have enough time to flourish and mutate. I mean, just look at this poor sod. This is Jake Lucky, GigaChad gaming guy on X with nearly 500,000 followers. I like Marathon, and I'm not afraid to say it. Bro looks like he just had a guy in a black soldier uniform coming over to his house to check if he's hiding a copy of Marathon under the floorboards or something. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get in there. One of the most important points of disconnect between the people who are loving their time in Marathon versus the people who were bored out of their skulls in the server slam, or who were just never interested in the game to begin with and get slammed on social media for daring to not like a video game, is funnily enough a matter of proportion. So the game launched to around 86,000 concurrent players on Steam, and then it hit a peak of 88,000 a few hours later. Ever since then, it's been trending downwards, and the estimated game purchases is around 700,000 on PC, and that's it. It's also been reported that PC is Marathon's strongest platform. So things aren't looking that good. But unlike Highguard, for example, it hasn't been a huge drop when it comes to concurrent player numbers. You can see here the latest 24-hour peak, for instance, is 66,000, so there's a loss of around 20,000 players. This, for Marathon fans, means the game is actually doing great because it's generally maintaining its player numbers. The problem, though, is that they're failing to understand how that's not enough. I have this sneaking suspicion that if the game released to 8,000 players instead of 80,000, and right now it was still 8,000 or maybe like 7,000, these Marathon copers would be over here like, hey, what's the problem? The game maintained its player base. Looks fine to me. And sorry, let's move on here. They don't even see the problem with how the player count didn't budge during the opening weekend. They don't see how bizarre it is for a game from a major publisher like this with so much riding on it, so many millions of dollars pumped into the marketing alone, to lose players during the first weekend rather than gain them. And so they just keep coping online, taking solace in exaggerations that are at times made by online jokesters. So for example, the Concord 3 label. These people are literally taking solace and like victory laps by showing just how many more players it has than Concord did. They're like, yeah haters, keep coping haters, Concord had 600 players at launch, Highguard lost half its player base on day 2, meanwhile Marathon has retained like 80% of its player base since day 1. Take that, grifters! And this is basically it. This is a win for them. Even some voice actors are joining the cope, and I don't even know how. I mean, they're voice actors. They should know more about the industry's inner workings than the average gamer, but I guess they don't, because here's the dude who voices the bald soy boy character with black lipstick that looks like an unfinished, underbaked Unity asset, celebrating all the love he's been seeing for Marathon and finishing it with, "The whiners are outnumbered." My brother, what do you mean the whiners? Is it at all possible these days to dislike a game or, have a problem with something or other that you have to criticize or ask for them to fix or whatever without being called a whiner or a grifter or a chud or whatever else diluted labels these people throw around?
No!
The most ironic part of all of this is that this is live service slop. People have been dunking on live services for over 10 years now. Even this guy has done it. He's the voice actor for Adam Jensen in Deus Ex. The studio that makes them got acquired by the Embracer Group a few years ago, and this guy even went on to call them psychopaths because of what they're doing to Deus Ex right now. Do you guys want to know what it is that they're doing to Deus Ex? Well, let me tell you fellas, come on and gather round and listen to Uncle Dez. Embracer Group nuked a single-player sequel to Deus Ex Mankind Divided that was 2 years into development already to greenlight a Deus Ex live service game instead. This is what Embracer did. Dipshit Maximus over here thinks that's a bad thing. Damn near psychopathy apparently. Meanwhile, what did Bungie do to Marathon? Well, they went back, took the Marathon franchise, which was a single-player shooter focused on its lore and story, took laxatives, and then shed out another goddamn live service extraction shooter. Isn't it amazing how this goes? You guys, oh no, you guys are total whiners for criticizing this and laughing at dogshit character, world and UI designs that were literally stolen from an indie artist's personal portfolio of styles, but him? Oh no, he can go ahead and complain about a similar thing hitting Deus Ex. I guess what matters is the paycheck. If it's live service Slop that hires him for a role, it's good. If it's live service Slop that leaves him hanging, it's bad. But hey, anyway, going from 80,000 to 60,000 players is a win for Marathon lovers, but you know who this definitely isn't a win for? Bungie's higher-ups, and most importantly the people at Sony who were already pissed off with Concord's failure. Sony is in a very tight spot. Their plans to curb single-player production and bet on live service Slop has been on life support. Several projects have been cancelled already, and frankly, I'm hoping even more of them get nuked because nobody wanted this. PlayStation built their success during the last generation with single-player games. That's what their user base wants. That was literally the blueprint. If you love single-player games, you get a PS4 because Sony is betting all the way on it. That's what people expected, that's what people wanted, but now instead, they are focused on forcing this kind of crap on us. So for example, instead of acquiring Bungie to do what they used to do best by building vast interesting worlds with deep lore, great characters and terrific campaigns, they spent the last few years and hundreds of millions of dollars making this. Live service extraction shooter number 36 for a market that's already riddled with them. But more on that later. The point is, this pathetic player count may be impressive enough for Bungie glazers to be happy about and, debunk the Marathon hate, but it's not enough for the amount of money that was put into this game and the expectations riding on it. I think Sony people are looking to weekend number 2 to figure out whether they're screwed or not. They're desperately hoping for an Arc Raiders-like situation to happen where the game becomes a clippable online sensation that drives sales up. The Concord label is frankly irrelevant. It doesn't mean a game can only launch to 600 players and die 2 weeks later. To me, Concord label means live service slop that flops because it's an out-of-touch product that people don't want. But that gets forced on us anyway because these companies aren't making games for us. They're basically just playing a high-stakes lottery hoping that they finally make a live service that cracks through the box and becomes the big Fortnite-like jackpot. That's why Marathon had a bunch of money pumped into marketing. Sony needs this to be on everyone's radars. They need it to do big numbers. A declining average in the dozens of thousands isn't enough. And a lot of these companies have this mentality of like faking it until they make it. Make the game look big enough, make the game look popular enough that it might just trick people into thinking that that's what it actually is. That's why they hate Steam's public database, and we'll be getting to that in a bit. It allows people to get a real look at what's actually happening rather than what the company wants you to believe. This is exactly what they did with Concord too. They had a whole scene setting up the universe before the game dropped. Shit, they even had a TV show. And Marathon here had a hidden camera style thing where they creeped people out by posing as a real tech company, developing weird sci-fi robot AI bullshit, and then having the player shells coming alive, well, like, people in suits basically, during the tech presentation and scaring the people in the store. I'd show you guys a clip, but I'm pretty sure that I would get DMCA'd in 15 seconds. Think of something like Candid Camera, but cringe. They got all this shit pumped into the game's marketing only to have it teabagged by an indie game on Steam that is pulling over 500,000 concurrent players in 24 hours. Slay the Spire 2's lowest point during its release hour was already more than double the people that Marathon had. But oh yeah, totally guys, I mean we definitely need more live service slop in the market. Live service slop is the only way to make money these days in modern gaming, fellas, okay? Totally, absolute, oh for sure brother, for sure. And of course we must defend the beloved corporations on their unending search for maximum profit. Which brings me to the next piece of cope. Free-flowing information is a beautiful thing, but every time a bad or mid game that isn't doing well pops up and the industry really needs it to succeed, whether that be for the purposes of culture war like Dragon Age Veilguard, or for the sake of benefiting big gaming corpos like Sony, or both, then we get dingleberries like these two lobotomites pushing for Steam charts to get banned. These two screenshots are courtesy of Veridark, they come from the Server Slam days, and here's what they say. Number 1, Steam player count being public is the worst thing to happen to gaming in recent time. Mentality of, if this game going in a niche genre doesn't outperform every game ever released, it's dead on arrival. Like holy shit, I can't put into words how stupid it is and how it'll be every game release. First of all, sit the down, you're goddamn delusional, okay? Just off of the top of my head, we got this major issue going on in gaming circles right now where it shows that overall gambling addiction has increased by a significant amount, and it has done so in younger ages too. And this, sweetheart, is all thanks to those lovely live service slop games that pumped themselves with unregulated predatory monetization tactics for years. I can't exactly blame Sony for this, since during the last generation they were actually making single-player games instead of following the live service trend, but who cares? They're joining the trend now, so f*** them. That alone is a far bigger problem than a page that shows player count. I could think of 5 other things on the spot too. Shit, make it 10. Hell, make it 50. Because frankly, this isn't a problem at all. It's very funny that it's only brought up now as a problem for bad or mixed games that are failing to resonate with people, but meanwhile, do it to a great game, doing great numbers, you know, do it to an indie game that deserves some recognition, or shit, do it to Marathon if Marathon was managing to engage like 1 million players a day, and suddenly the Steam Charts page is actually great. Another thing that's even funnier is, what's the problem with the player number, guys? I thought the game was doing well. I thought Marathon is a great hit. I thought numbers were solid, you know, it was being able to maintain most of its player base and all that. I thought everyone else was coping and moving goalposts about the game's underperformance. If that's all good, why is the player count being public a bad thing, fellas? What's going on here?
Fucking retard.
Third of all, that whole thing, it'll be every game release. Are you stupid? Like, I don't even know what else to say here. 2 games just released and have been doing the rounds online about how much people are enjoying them. Resident Evil 9 Requiem and Slay the Spire 2. A couple of weeks back, we had the same thing happening with another indie game from the creator of Binding of Isaac. PC Gamer just tried to yank Tainted Grail's pizzle, calling it a Elder Scrolls wannabe, which got a bunch of that game's fans to come out and defend it and show their support. Neo 3 also came out with no problems whatsoever, just fans of the series enjoying yet another entry. But then we get these morons trying to paint false narratives that this is happening with every game. Nah, son, not every game, just the garbage, okay? It's just the garbage. You go ahead and play whatever you want to play, you're free to do so, go enjoy your Marathon game. I mean, why are you coping on social media? Are matches really that difficult to find? Go on, hop on, play the game, enjoy yourself before Sony abandons it. Next up, we have the other one. I'm convinced a petition should be started to shut down Steam database. We should not be allowed to see player counts for any game anymore, nor how many are viewing it on Twitch.
Some people are really fucking stupid.
Man, who are these people, man? I refuse to believe that these are normal, regular, everyday people. These have to be corpo suits from major companies coping and seething online, because there's no way that anyone normal would ever advocate for less freedom of information. It's either that, or number 2, they're paid shills by the corpo suits, or the alternative, well, they're very special people, and I'm very, very sorry that they got dented at birth. I will be organizing a fundraising charity event for special needs marathon fans. Mark it on your calendars, guys. However, in order to be able to raise any funds at all, I'll need to be playing something else, otherwise nobody's gonna be clicking the stream. Seriously guys, like holy crap, information must flow. If a game is looking bad because of it, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Less information is bad. You gotta be a lobotomite to want this. Holy shit. Why is Steam constantly under attack by these elites? Literal elites, by the way, like the Rothschilds? It's because they are a massive chunk of the games industry that these assholes can't control. Steam is a literal bastion for the consumer, and in a world that is increasingly hostile to people, a world that wants us to own nothing and keep quiet, that presents an even bigger threat. And so they're condemned to fight off malicious lawsuit after lawsuit from elites seeking to damage Steam and gain partial control over its independence. Frankly, people advocating for this are disgusting. Nobody would gain from this, not even them. But they push for it all the same, just to own the chuds. Reality is, charts or no charts, bad games that nobody wants are going to fail all the same. What do you think's going to happen? Remove the charts from the equation, what do you got? People aren't going to magically fall in love with live service Slop number 89 and buy it. They just won't have direct data to use for assumptions. They'd have to make estimations based off of other metrics, like the number of Steam reviews posted. Oh, but right, that's right, I almost forgot. These same blue sky types also want to ban negative Steam reviews. Oh yeah, fellas, it's true. It's all in this video I made a couple of weeks ago. Feel free to check it out, it's in the description and the top comment. Isn't it ironic that everything must be censored, banned, or deleted just to accommodate these retards? They can even have their own social media specifically catered to them, designed to give them the safe spaces that they require from the rest of the internet. They will still go out of their way to try and force every other goddamn corner of it, every other medium, every other platform, every other everything to be the exact same way. Nothing is allowed to just exist where people are free to speak their minds, to do their own research, and to express their discontentment with something. Your only rights are to shut up, eat the slop, say nothing if you got nothing nice to say, and get your news from the official news sources. Official sources like PC Gamer with this banger article from last month. Highguard did not flop. Yeah, sure. It's getting delisted today, by the way. I'm sick and tired of these false narratives and this malicious, predatory, anti-consumer and anti-gamer culture. These next ones have been my favorite piece of cope. There's been a lot of these types of posts like this one from Gaming Circle lolcow Michael. Why does everyone want every new game to fail? It's the same delusional type of thing as that last one, and this is coming from, again, games industry people who like to pretend like they are the #1 official sources for all things gaming. They like to pretend like they know the medium, they know what's going on, but then they post utter delusional shit like this. Truth is, Michael, you got it all wrong, man. You know, do gamers just want to watch all games fail? Oh, no, my friend, you got it all wrong. I don't want to see all games fail. I don't hate gaming, I just hate live service slopathons. And so when a game like Marathon comes along and it just looks like yet another batch of the same old model of bullshit, and then I see soy boys like you coming out and coping about it and making things up, I just can't resist but join the sewage bath along with everyone else. Mostly for fun and for laughs, honestly, it's not even like a whole thing. But then when I see industry plants and corpos advocating for banning Steam reviews or banning Steam charts so they can hide their failures in yet another attempt at swindling their players and their investors, then yes, I do hope those games fail. Just is what it is. This is your guys' doing, by the way. Go back a couple of weeks before the server slam and watch this video on the topic of toxic negativity cope. I hailed Bungie's decision last year of delaying an inevitable dead on arrival failure and getting to work on some of the things that people complained about as a good thing, as a thing that was probably going to help Marathon have a better chance at launch than if they had been stubborn and stupid enough to release the game at the state night that it was in September of 2025. But you guys and your BS, and by the way, when I say you guys, I don't mean the viewers. Oh, I love you guys. You guys are the top G's in this scenario, okay?
I got you, homie.
When I say you guys here, I mean these pricks. When these pricks come out with all of this bullshit, all it does is just black pill me some more. Seeing people lose their composure over criticism to a game is pathetic, literally just too funny to pass up. I can't resist pointing and laughing at their inaccurate fallacies. But seeing people advocating for banning criticism and readily available information and data drives me up a fucking wall. I felt sorry for what happened with Highguard. That is more than documented in my videos. With Marathon, I'm not even there anymore. Oh, I want Sony's live service plans to crash and burn. I want Sony to take a very necessary lesson from all of this. Maybe even more than one. Number one, I want them to learn that their player base doesn't want live service garbage. They want single player games, and Sony is slacking like crazy on that. Number two, when you make a live service, you don't pump hundreds of millions of dollars like they did with Concord and Concord 3. You don't celebrate those games' massive successes before the damn titles are out. You don't make a ton of cringy marketing material, like that stupid ass hidden camera show. Like, who the hell is going to buy the game based off of that, you idiot? First, you make the game and you cut as many budgetary corners as you can while you're at it. You don't make bad content to save money, of course, but you manage yourself accordingly. You don't get teams with hundreds of developers working on this one thing, and you don't go out of your way to hire top actors to come voice your ugly-ass playable characters in the live service extraction shooter that you can't even work in a proper narrative through because the goddamn game is the same thing every time. And also where the very genre of the game heavily relies on players communicating through voice chat instead. I swear to God, man, these dudes went and got the Troy Bakers of the current console generation to voice characters that you aren't even going to be hearing. I'd be crying in pain for Sony's wallet if this wasn't so funny. Only then, when the game is out, if it's good and it gains an audience, then yes, you expand and you throw more money at it to crank out more content and increase its popularity. With both Concord and Marathon, Sony just comes out of the gate with this huge marketing campaign, huge thing. Oh my god, it's Concord, it's the Star Wars of PlayStation. Oh my god, it's Marathon, it's Bungie's next masterpiece. But then they release, and it's just another live service game with a single mode and a f***ing roadmap. And lastly, number 3 lesson for Sony to take away from all this is, screw you. That's it. I've ranted and raved about many of their problems in the last 2 videos, so I'm not gonna do it again. All that remains to be said is that, at the end of the day, predatory live service shit failing is good for the industry, actually. It heals it. Well, actually, let me correct myself here. If the correct lessons are learned from the higher-ups as of the result of those failures, it heals the industry. If no lessons are learned, or if the wrong one is learned, then nothing happens or things just get worse. We just carry on and continue to keep seeing it all crash and burn. For example, EA didn't learn the right lesson from Veilguard's failure. Andrew Wilson, the top dog at EA, made it about how the game should have been the live service to succeed. So in other words, the game that was meant to be live service since the start and was then switched to single player after realizing that that was a really stupid decision needs to be live service to succeed after all. There's another moron that did this too over at Warner Brothers Games. So they made a Hogwarts Legacy, which was a banger, single player game, loads of sales, and then they made Soy Squad Kill the Justice League, and that flopped like crazy. And the guy goes, you know what we need more of in our company, gentlemen? We need more live services, so from now on, all of the properties that we're making, the sequels are going to be live service, including, of course, Hogwarts Legacy, our number 1 seller. With morons like these in charge at these companies, they don't even need rivals, brother. But alas, higher-ups at these billion-dollar gaming companies taking the wrong lessons from their failures isn't really my problem. It's theirs. If anything, if a higher-up takes the wrong lesson into account and makes things worse, that's all the more reason for wanting more of their shit to fail in the future, so we can wake up some internal board members into kicking the gonkin chief out and replace him with someone who will hopefully know what they're doing. And now, to finalize this edition of Marathon Cope, we're gonna check back in with the journalists. Because boy oh boy have they been busy. Ah, game journalists. They always bring us such joy, don't they? Here's an article from PC Gamer trying to sound human by mimicking Gen Z slang. Quote, Marathon's aura farming NPCs show just how bland and lifeless Arc Raiders AI-voiced characters really are. What?
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
Listen, buddy, listen. Two things, okay? Number one, Gen Z isn't playing this piece of shit game, okay? They can't even afford it. Their whole lives have been under a goddamn recession. They don't got...
You're broke! You're f***ing poor!
They don't got $40 to play this game, and even if they did, they wouldn't be playing it, okay? Number two, Arc Raiders' supposedly bland and lifeless characters are kicking the shit out of Marathon day after day after day. Doesn't even matter how many content creators go online trying to push people towards Marathon, telling them how bored they are of Arc Raiders because there's nothing to play it for anymore.
I'm kind of off the just run one game type shit. I'm kind of just trying to play whatever the fuck I want to play. It's fun.
Agreed. I'm in. We've grinded long enough.
Yeah, we've grinded. We can
here's the thing.
Anything.
I said this yesterday. If we get an update where it's like I feel like there's something to work towards, new arc, whatever, I feel like it will revitalize me. But until then, I'm just kind of like blech.
Well, I mean, it is fun for a couple hours every day because you're killing. But you're right. There isn't anything to work toward. Exhibit
and there's
audio.
not like, even in Marathon, you can say whatever you want about the game. I'm getting excited finding these gold keys and this, that, and the other.
I did see there was a take on somebody, like Shroud was like talking about how he's like, I don't know, there's kind of like nothing to do in this game anymore. It's kind of boring. And it's like, Shroud's playing like this game like 18 hours a day. Like, you got to be careful when you talk like that. Not talk like that, but you know what I mean? Like the average casual gamer is going to be able to play this game before even a major update and be like cooking with loot and like with content.
Bro, the average casual gamer is working 8 to 10 hours a day and coming home and playing this game and staying up too late.
100%.
I mean, what else do these people expect? They're content creators. Their lives are composed of waking up, taking a piss, getting some cereal for breakfast or whatever, and then playing whichever live service is currently trending for like 12 hours. Of course you're going to get bored and tired of the same game that you're playing. Honestly, this genuinely sounds like a nightmare. But this doesn't make Marathon good, nor does it make Marathon the alternative. You could literally go and play anything else and have a more refreshing experience. And the same thing that happened to these people with Arc, where they exhaust all the content in the game and get bored, is going to happen in Marathon too.
That was super fun. This game it's got me, Marathon's got me by the balls. Bungie got it, they have me right where they want me. I'm just so hard addicted to this game. I just like sleep and I think about it and dream about it. It's just like, it's nonstop.
Yeah, the game is pretty fucking good.
It's fucking nonstop. Either waiting for that expedition window in a month or waiting for some meaningful content in Arc, and then I'll play it again. But probably a month, to be honest. I'll probably play Arc again in a month. And once you have everything, it's kind of loses a little bit of its fun. But are there any other games you're waiting on? I'm curious about Marathon in March.
It's just one mode. That's the problem with these games. If you get tired of playing it, there's nothing else. Some like to say no, it's not, because every 3 months there's going to be a reset. This is also cope. Doesn't even make sense. Just because you lose your whole inventory and have to grind for shit again every 3 months, doesn't mean you're getting new content that refreshes the experience. It just means that you're a dumbass replaying the same game to regain the same stuff that you already earned during the last season pass. Either way, I much prefer looking at what players say, and looking at Arc Raiders' performance, even after all these months, is kinda crazy. There's dips every now and then, but it kicks back up, and they're still, regardless, pulling hundreds of thousands of players every day. The average experience in this game is just different, and frankly, it doesn't even matter what it is. If it's because of the visual style, or the sound design, or the more casual nature, or the maps, hell, I mean, it's probably a mix of everything anyway. The point is that they're bland and lifeless NPCs are whooping the ass of Marathon's all-star cast. And you know what's funniest? You probably get the same experience in both games, because in both games your characters are meant to be silent. You can't have characters talking in an extraction shooter, giving players locations away. And again, any communication is by players, using voice chat. But I guess this is too much for a game journalist to comprehend. I mean, it doesn't surprise me really. I mean, these are the same people who couldn't beat the Cuphead tutorial. In truth, this is just yet another jab from game journalists going against what gamers show preference for. They're doing it to slay the Spire 2 right now as well, making cringy articles trying to discredit the quality of the game because of course. When players don't like a game, they defend it. When players like a game, they shit on it. It's the only way they can keep the fucking lights on anymore. Plus, you have the usual AI derangement syndrome where now Marathon is meant to be the better game just because they hired Jennifer English and Joey Salads to play the characters in the game. Guys, I'm calling it right now. We might actually hit the Game of the Year awards later and have one of these characters up for Best Actor nomination because of how stupid these game journalists are and how 90% of the power over who gets nominated and wins awards comes from them rather than from the voters. But that wasn't all, fellas. We also got this gem just a day or so ago. Quote, as the Marathon player count discourse reaches peak stupidity, Warframe and Overwatch developers speak out in solidarity. This is big unemployed maidenless behavior. Oh, good lord, the exaggeration is amazing. By developers speaking up in solidarity, they're talking about two random people on social media who happen to have worked on Overwatch and Warframe. One of them is Rebecca Ford. She is currently the creative director of Warframe, and not for nothing, but this is a recent development. This is since 2022. Before that, she was the director of community and live operations. To keep this video digestible, this role has two main parts. Number one, community management on steroids, and number two, reading the room when it comes to what players want and planning future updates, roadmaps, seasonal events, etc. I highlighted this because even though I used to play Warframe a long time ago, around like 2016 or so, I haven't played it all that much over the last few years, and so I don't know whether or not the game's reputation is as it was. This is important because all that Rebecca said was, naming the next Warframe we release player count to pollute the searches and defend against the discourse. Just a dogshit joke about player count discourse online. I mean, it's whatever, as long as your jokes are reserved to coping about not being able to control community discourse rather than advocating for banning reviews or banning Steam charts or banning whatever else, I really don't care. It's just another Yahoo on social media. But as a response, a fan of Warframe said, or developers could do what you and yours did, make a good or at least decent game that gets enough retention to find further development. And the response from the developer to this is so dumb, dude. Like, I actually had to break it down in the next part, and I don't even know, I don't want to, because it's so stupid. Oh, why can't I just... Why can't my channel just be like fucking woodcrafting or something? Anyway, here's her response. When Warframe released, we had 435 other titles to compete with for the attention of millions of Steam users. Now, games have 20,000 other games in the same year for many millions of Steam users that have already been exposed to 80,000 plus prior releases that they might have liked. And she concludes with, we got incredibly lucky. We were broke. There were less than 500 other games released the year Warframe released. Every day people care about Warframe is a gift, and we're only as good as our last update. Jesus, finally, we got through the cringe, now let's get to the sauce. Ascribing your coworkers' hard work to just being luck is one hell of a thing. Warframe was known specifically around the time I played it for being the one live service out there that was offering a bunch of content to players and not nickeling and diming them for it. Beyond that, it was also known as a game where the developers listened to the feedback and worked tirelessly to make the game better, to make the game fun to play, to put out more content. Also, it was different than any other live service being done at the time. And even now, in current day, it's not exactly a conventional game. It's not like a shooter, for example. It still feels like its own thing, or rather, it should. I haven't touched it in years, so I can't really say. That's not luck. That's hard work and making things people want. It's also being smart with your budget. This is why this is such a pointless post. We're bringing up numbers with no reference either. Do you genuinely believe that a game like Marathon is competing with 20,000 other games? Is this like a serious argument, or was she kidding, or... Listen, most of these games aren't even seeing the light of day, bro. The majority of these titles aren't even considerable to be called indie games. We're talking about a lot of shovelware that pollutes the store over there. A game like Marathon isn't competing with that. A game like Marathon gets in the first page. A game like Marathon is known across. I know about Marathon. You think I know about, I don't know, Big Balls Apple Adventures or some shit? Like, you don't. This is what we're talking about here. Warframe is the exact same thing. Another stupid thing we're doing here is we are pretending as if the Warframe developers spent the same money that Bungie and Sony just did. We're talking about completely different situations here. If anything, this post just proves my point for me. The industry has expanded. The live service market is oversaturated. No, not with 20,000 other games, but it is with hundreds of other live services from small studios and big companies who keep tripping over themselves attempting to copy Fortnite and GTA Online's success, where they don't even need to make any games anymore. They can just retire and buy an island. Not that one. And in the midst of all this, studios like Bungie and Wildlight blow hundreds of millions of dollars making yet another live service in that aforementioned oversaturated market. What do you expect is going to happen? Miracles? Those only happen in the Bible, sweetheart. You're not gonna have Jesus come down from the clouds, clap his hands, and make people desire extraction shooter number 36 in live service format number 489. Man, games have 20,000 other games in the same year for millions of Steam users that have already been exposed to 80,000 prior releases. Dear God, brother, 80,000 other releases. Dude, we would need the time stone to be able to play all this shit or even be familiar with them. It would be like that scene in Infinity War. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Except instead of beating our asses, you would just force us to play all of these Steam games. Maybe this is the solution to Marathon and other future live service slop fests. These companies need to convince Dormammu to give us the time and space to play these 80,000 video games so that when we reach 2026, our agendas are totally free and we're able to fit in some Marathon gameplay into our schedules. Spoiler alert, it's not gonna work. It was never about these 80,000 other games to compete against. It's really just that the game isn't that interesting and people would rather be playing something else. My God, when will these people understand that? Stop coping, and for the love of all things holy, nothing wrong with humbling yourselves by ascribing a little bit of luck to your successes, but never make it all about the luck. You worked hard to make Warframe possible. You could have coped and blamed the gamers back at launch and get swallowed up throughout 2014, 15, and 16 with the rise of other live services, or you could have done what you did, which is to get to work and make Warframe a game that is worth caring about. I should actually end the video right here, but we have one more moron to get to, which is the other developer. Dylan Snyder, senior designer at Overwatch. He also only speaks for himself and his pronouns are he, him. Make sure to take note of that, guys. You wouldn't want to misgender the bearded man in the picture. I'm not even going to bother checking this developer's history because it doesn't really it doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Overwatch is a total joke that got swallowed up by Marvel rivals the moment that game came out because they ruined their game with garbage decisions. Now they've been trying to undo that damage and regain that player base again. And he didn't even say anything useful or worth discussing. It's just a dumb tweet from yet another random social media user. Just another day on Twitter. Someone said Marathon had a 50% player drop in its launch weekend and the guy reposted it and said, "Is the 50% player drop in the room with us now? Feel free to dislike and pass up any game you want. More power to you. But this is big unemployed maidenless behavior." Listen, big dog. Elden Ring's maidenless memes were 4 years ago. Okay? Your millennialism is showing. That's number one. Number two, what are you even saying? I'm free to dislike and pass up any game that I want, more power to me. But the moment I discuss it online, that's a no-go, and that means that I'm a maidenless, jobless behavior or whatever the f***. Like, that's the line we cannot cross. You're free to shut up and quietly uninstall the game, but oh, talk about it and it's a problem. Number three, If I was a game developer of a live service game that doesn't have a goddamn beginning or an end and strictly relies on people to get hooked on and just play it endlessly so the studio doesn't die and I get laid off, I'd shut up with the unemployed remark. My brother, that's at least half of your player base. Shit, probably more. And Maidenless? Oh boy, let's not even go there. We're literally talking about the game that rose to popularity because the character designs were more popular on dubious websites than even the game itself.
Damn, boy, he's thick, boy!
Also, not for nothing, but isn't Overwatch a game that mostly appeals to younger people? Not kids necessarily, but young people. Is it really that fucking abnormal for a young person to be single and still be studying or taking a course or whatever? You are literally taking a jab at the majority of your player base right now and you're not even saying anything. Because as we covered in the first part of this video, whether it's a 50% drop or a 30% drop or a 20% drop, Sony needs a hit for this game. A dude also pointed out in the comments how it's a 50% drop from the server slam, which hit around 150,000 players on day 1 and then kept declining. The developer responds, then they were comparing a free weekend to a $40 launch price point, which, being as generous as possible, doesn't feel like a good faith comparison to make, I guess. Who cares about good faith or bad faith in this situation? Just look at what's happening with your own two eyes. This is the problem with these people. I said it in one of my previous videos and I'll say it again. These people don't even care about whether a game is good or not, or whether the data or information that people are bringing up is correct. They only care about optics and about their perceived side. If this dude dropped the copium, he would realize how bad of a look it is for a free server slam, which wasn't just a weekend by the way, it was several days, to have the game lose players day after day rather than gaining them by word of mouth. You go check out Arc Raiders data and you see what that looks like. You see the players increasing because the game released, people played it, they were impressed by it, word of mouth got around that this game is a fun time, content creators showed the game off and recommend it, more people buy it, more people stick with it, and on we go with those player numbers rising. And the weekend is always a boost. Even for games like Avowed and Dragon Age Veilguard, with their own sets of problems and their own sets of people dunking on them, the players went up on the first weekend. Because duh, it's the weekend. With Marathon, none of this happened. Server Slam had a bunch of people try the game out and dip. And then, a few days later, after the full release, the opening weekend was dry. The numbers didn't even stay the same, they went down. And at the end of the day, no matter which angle you try to look at this from, no matter which way you try to twist it, it's just not something that normally happens. And again, remember, this is on PC, and as was reported very recently, PC is Marathon's biggest platform. So things are even rougher on PlayStation. This is why people take note of it. This is why people mention it. I don't understand what this guy is coping about, but it's pathetic. It's like if there's a car crash right in front of you and you go, wow, holy crap, that sucks. And this moron shows up like, wow, really? Listen, no, this isn't the problem. Listen, you're free to not like car crashes, but this is just big, unemployed, and, maidenless behavior. Remember, guys? You guys remember? Remember the maidenless memes, guys? You remember? I was there too, guys. I also played Elder King. And with that, fellas, we are out of here, man. This was meant to be a bit shorter and more digestible, going over just a little bit of cope, but look at that. It ended up being around 40 minutes long. Either way, it was my pleasure. I hope it was yours too. Thanks for hanging out and watching the video. As always, I'll keep an eye out for more stupid shit online. I think we're gonna see more of it, fella. I don't think this is the last edition. The cope has been thick, you know, it's been rich, you know, it's got layers. Subscribe to stay tuned for that and much more commentary, discussion, and videos like this on games industry stuff. I'm out of here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves.